I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's see. On to item number 2, administration of oath of office.
So we have 2 oaths to administer today. We'll start with Kelly Sheehan. Kelly, you'll stand and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I, Kelly Sheehan,
I, Kelly Sheehan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Okay, congratulations. It's like a mirror thing. Okay, Joel, you might come into the podium? And we'll have you raise your right hand as well.
Okay.
And repeat after me. I, Joel Henderson,
I, Joel Henderson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Just a comment, looking forward to working with you, Joel, and continuing to work with you, Kelly. Sounds like we have a good board coming forward. Great. And just for the record, Nick Haven is joining us.
Already.
All right. Do we have any comments from the public on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Any corrections to the agenda or consent calendar? Anything you guys want to pull? No. Okay. Any motions to adopt?
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, no items brought forward. Moving to item 7A. Mark Silos.
Good afternoon, Mark Silos, Water Resources Manager. I'm here asking for authorization to bid for the Tahoe Bayview Backup Power, Tahoe Well Rehab, and Luther Pass Pump Station Fuel Storage Augmentation Project, and I hope that's the longest project name you ever hear.
We got 2 more here.
Yeah. So I've come to the board a few times for this project in the design phase, but just as a reminder, so Tahoe and Bayview wells are our largest producing wells. They account for up to about 40% of the district's groundwater production. Power outages, whether from winter storms or planned PSPSs, present significant operational risk to the district, particularly around these wells. Tahoe well currently has a backup power in the form of a right angle drive that allows the well to operate at about 50% capacity. Bayview well has no backup power. And so the proposed project has 3 main goals. Number 1 is to establish permanent backup power at these stations. Number 2 is to rehab aging electrical, mechanical, and downhole equipment at Tahoe well to improve its reliability. And number 3 is to augment fuel storage at Luther Pass Pump Station, and that would increase the operational capacity from about 2.5 days to 5 days in the event of an outage. And an added recent benefit to this project is that the existing pump and motor at Tahoe will be able to be upsized, which would increase the maximum capacity from about 2,800 GPM to about 3,400 GPM. And this would bring the state line pressure zone into compliance with firm capacity requirements by the California Water Code. And so we had Kennedy Jenks as a design consultant on the project. They produced 100% plan set, tech specs, and a Class 2 cost estimate. The estimated bid cost is $5,522,000. This includes actual construction costs, MOP and DMOP, overhead and profit, 10% estimate in construction contingencies, and 12% escalation to the midpoint of construction. The district was awarded a $1.27 million contract from the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for construction of this project. And staff plan to advertise bids in January with the contract awarded in March. We're expecting construction to start early in the summer of 2025, and we're hoping to be finished up by the end of summer 2026, which is about a year ahead of schedule due to the pre-procurement of the long lead time electrical items that we took to you guys a few months ago. And so before I read my requested action, do you have any questions?
Questions from the audience?
So the requested action is authorize staff to advertise for construction bids for the Tahoe Bayview Well Backup Power Project, Tahoe Well Rehabilitation Project, and Luther Pass Pump Station Fuel Storage Augmentation Project.
Public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
Doing.
Doggy dog, dang.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next up is 7B, CAD Design and Drafting Consulting Services. Brett?
Good afternoon. Frank Noligoski, Senior Engineer, here to talk about CAD Design and Drafting Consulting Services. So this is a annual task order that'll be start January 1, go through the next year. Very similar to the one that we're just wrapping up over the last year. So over the last year, we really had this consultant focusing on some waterline designs. So they completed, I think, one small waterline design, PRV, and then they've got 90% drawings on 2 waterlines and almost to 90% on a 3rd waterline over the last year. Also focused a lot on writing a CAD manual and like developing our CAD standards more than what they were, modernizing them a little bit, clean them up, and then having a manual of how to use our templates and what the different layers are and things like that. So accomplished a lot in the last year, and looking forward to another year worth. So it works out to essentially 2,000 hours. This consultant is generally one individual who works essentially full-time on our projects. We've got a number of projects here on the list that we expect them to do at least some work on over the next year. I think I've got 12 bullets here, including 6 new waterline projects. Some of these will be, trying to get them to 60% design, 90% design, and on the shelf, ready as the CIP plan moves forward. Definitely a longer list going into next year. Some of that is what we're seeing from like SRF grant funding. We're seeing them asking for plans and specifications earlier than we used to provide them in the process. And we're hoping that if we have these plans more developed and available to them, then as those SRF loans get more competitive, we'll have these ready to go. So we're hoping to get even further ahead than we've been able to get over the last year in a lot of designs as part of this. And this has been a really cost-effective way to move these waterline designs forwards. we're spending roughly $40,000 per water line, versus a couple of years ago we put out a full design package for a water main replacement, and that ran us about $140,000. So that included design, not as much oversight from our in-house engineering, but this is a way that we're able to get the things drafted with really limited input from anyone else. So, anybody have any questions? All right.
Just ask a quick one, just in terms of our internal capacity. So we do have people that are familiar with CAD and can, I guess, effectively provide oversight on this contract.
Yeah. I think this really is a capacity versus capability thing. We have capability to do this work in-house, but not the capacity, and we utilize it. This allows us to utilize the people that have that capability to do other things, right? So like our engineering inspectors do some CAD work, our staff engineer does CAD work. I can do it, but there's a lot of other things that you've got me doing, right? So this allows us to get the drafting services off of us, and then whether it's myself or other project managers or others within the department, overseeing what they're doing, checking in on the different revisions and giving them the direction of where to put the pipe, but then they're doing all that drafting.
Any questions, comments from the public on this one? Anybody want to call a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, wait.
You want me to read it? I'll read it. Number 1, approve the proposed scope of work from CAD Designing Solutions for on-call CAD design and drafting services. And number 2, authorize the general manager to approve and sign task order number 2 with CAD Designing Solutions LLC in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that. And the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7C, wastewater certificate of participation.
Get my presentation up first.
Is this up on your end?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's on the right channel. We good? Okay.
I don't.
No, it's not on here. Until you walk down that step and then. Okay, let's give it a try. Good afternoon, directors. This afternoon, I will be presenting on agenda items 7C and 7D. However, each item requires separate action by the board. As presented at the November 21st board meeting, South Public Utility District has identified the need for obtaining tax-exempt financing, specifically certificates of participation for several wastewater and water projects which do not qualify for state revolving fund loans. Staff has been working with California Special Districts Associates Financing Group, Oppenheimer, Bartle Wells, and Jones Hall in preparation of these borrowings. Representatives from the team are participating in this meeting virtually. They include Rick Brandis, Managing Director for Oppenheimer, Alex Handlers, Principal for Bartle Wells Associates, Scott Ferguson, Bond Counsel for Jones Hall, and Dan Shaw, Director for Oppenheimer. This brief presentation will include an introduction of the entire financing team, projects to be financed, followed by a debt financing overview, and lastly, the schedule of the entire process.
Moments ago, you were introduced to a few members of the financing team. This slide is the representation of all team members, which includes CSDA Finance Corporation, counterparty to the transaction, as well as U.S. Bank, who is proposed as the trustee. Each member plays a vital role and has their respective responsibilities. Bond counsel provides legal opinions and drafts the legal documents and official statements. Oppenheimer, as an underwriter, markets the debt to the investors and establishes the prices and interest rates, and most importantly, provides the funding to the district. Bartles Wells, as a municipal advisor, coordinates the entire financing process and provides advice regarding debt issuance to ensure debt is issued on favorable terms and conditions. The municipal advisor also has a fiduciary responsibility to represent the district's interests throughout the process. CSD Finance Corporation is the counterparty needed to legally facilitate the issuance of the COPs. And lastly, U.S. Bank, as a trustee, represents the bondholders, processes debt payments, and holds the project funds for disbursement to the district as requested. A summary of the projects to be financed for both wastewater and water are listed below. Currently, $15 million in water and $20 million in wastewater projects have been identified as candidates for this funding. Typically, the district funds capital improvements with a combination of grants, SRF loans, and cash funding from annual revenues. As a reminder, it has been determined that these projects are not eligible for SRF loans as they are a montage of projects. Please note that the $15 million and $20 million numbers mentioned earlier vary slightly from the resolutions of $16 million and $22 million in the current agenda package. The amount noted in the resolution is a not-to-exceed number in order to allow for contingency in the event of any changes to the project. Some basics on the debt financing. In addition to the dollars already discussed, the proposed financing is tax-exempt with a fixed rate payable over 30 years. The debt has been structured for interest-only payments in early years to minimize a temporary spike in annual debt service payments and level them in future years. This debt can be refinanced on a tax-exempt basis after approximately 9 to 10 years with no prepayment premium. Lastly, although projects have initially been identified for these funds, the district has the discretion to change projects within reason. The district is looking for adoption of resolutions and legal documents forms today. Also this month, CSDA will meet to adopt the required resolutions. District staff will have a rating agency online meeting with S&P Global, which is currently tentatively scheduled for December 17th, and by late December, bond ratings should be received. January is where all the action takes place, with the finalization of official statements, bond marketing, followed by the public sale and pricing of the COP, finalization of interest rates, and signing of the certificate purchase agreement. The intent is that closing and receipt of funds will occur by the end of January. Are there any questions for myself or any of the team members online?
Just, you threw a lot out there right now, and I know. we talked about it last. I'm just trying to simple it down for like the public or others. Like, this is basically just getting tax-exempt financing, bonding basically for payback over, it looks like a 30-year term to basically front-load our CIP. So this is in a lot of support of getting some of these critical projects that were listed on the previous slide going and moving. And so, yeah, I'm in support of this, and I appreciate the creativity in looking for funding mechanisms like this to get our CIP going. You know, we just did a rate increase, and you know, I think this is one of many tools that we have to accelerate improvements to our system that we promised our ratepayers. So I appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how our bond rating is, and you know what our end interest rate ends up being. But I think this is a great strategy to accelerate delivery of our CIP.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, this is, I concur with everything they said. I just was curious in terms of kind of coordination timeline to develop all this. Like, how long did it take you guys to put this all together?
We've been working on it probably the last 6 or 7 months. I mean, the majority of it has been the last week.
Right.
Well, not myself, but the team.
Much shorter the time required for an SRF loan application.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the benefits of the SRF loan application this is still a much better interest rate than if you went to the bank and borrowed money because it's tax exempt, but it's, more than the SRF.
It takes a village, it really does. It's like team members online, they do a bulk of the work. I just give them the information and they plug everything in.
No, absolutely. And again, I concur with what Nick had said, and I think it does speak to kind of all the efforts we're putting forward to advance the CIP budget beyond just continue to increase rates. So yeah, no, great work for everybody and the whole team on the call as well. I don't have any kind of poignant questions for anybody, but just to say, you know, to the team effort to bring this forward, greatly appreciated.
Just a quick question, has this been through the finance committee? Have you guys reviewed any of this, any part or portion? Or?
No, we didn't because Andrea had brought it to the floor twice, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah, leading up to this.
I think this is actually the third. There was an initial resolution adoption on reimbursement.
And then, I guess there's interest rate identified in there was like 4.25. That's just kind of, those are just kind of marker numbers for now until we move through our kind of finalization process, and we'll get a better idea what the actual interest rate looks like.
Correct. Kind of like when you go through a mortgage, you have an idea, but until you actually get the closing date and you finalize your interest rate. I don't know if anybody on the phone wants to, or online wants to add to that. Nope.
Just out of curiosity, for an SRF loan, what would be the interest rate kind of comparable to that?
Probably half.
I mean, still great, just nothing more.
Okay. Any questions, comments from the public at this point? Do you want to go ahead and read?
So action for agenda item 7C, district staff recommends approving resolution 3288-24, a resolution of the board of the directors of South Tahoe Public Utility District authorizing the execution, delivery, and sale of wastewater revenue certificates of participation to finance capital improvement projects and approving related documents and actions not to exceed $22 million maximum principal amount.
So moved.
Second.
No?
No, the
Why do you-
slideshow.
Just finding the PowerPoint.
Okay, and that motion passes unanimously. There we go. Passes unanimously.
Action for agenda item 7D, district staff recommends approving resolution 3289-24, a resolution of the board of directors of the South Tahoe Public Utility District authorizing the execution, delivery, and sale of water revenue certificates of participation to finance capital improvement projects and approving related documents and actions not to exceed $16 million maximum principal amount.
I'll make the motion. Second.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 8, standing and ad hoc committee and liaison reports. Did that one?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I don't have any to add. I don't either. All right. Item 9, board member reports.
I guess I'll just say I look forward to joining everyone at Tipsy Fest tomorrow. Last year, I think I talked a little trash about the benefit of my bowling game, and my bowling score was terrible, and I think you might have got a photo of it. So today, I'm a bad golfer, and I'm being really humble if you see it come tomorrow. I'm changing my tune.
Nothing.
I just want to congratulate Kelly and Joel again for their election victory, and
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm going to miss the Christmas party Friday. It's 2 years in a row that the TRPA Christmas party has lined up perfectly with us. So, bummer. But wish everyone the best, and have a great holiday.
all right, moving on to staff and attorney reports.
think there is any today.
Item 11, general manager report.
I just got a couple of things I wanted to let you know about. Nick had reported, following his Colorado Water Agency meeting, that we were going to get some of the leftover ARPA money for our Apache project out in Myers. And the original amount was thought to be around $300,000. We were notified that it looks like it's going to go about $440,000. So it's
Oh, yeah.
And then a couple of meetings ago, I think you, Shane, requested a staff report on the CTC-funded fuel spending plan and project. And so we've got that scheduled for January 16th. Then just as a reminder, we are not going to have a board meeting on January 2nd. That one's been canceled. And lastly, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge one of our former employees, Tim Bledsoe. Tim was our customer service manager here at the district for about 12 years, and he passed away earlier this week after battling cancer for about a year. For those of you who knew Tim, he was quite the character, and he had a personality probably the size of his room. And he was a genuine Southern boy, and that charm always came out when he was interacting with our customers. I mean, he was very, very good at that. I hired Tim back in 2009, and I really, really enjoyed the 12 years that I had working with him. We'll miss him very, very much, and our prayers are obviously with his family and friends at this time.
Okay, item 12, we've got past meetings and future meetings. Closed session. Meeting adjourned. Coming in a closed session, nothing to report.